Hafaday and welcome to another episode of CNMI Weekly, where we recap the stories from the past week and share what you need to know heading into the weekend. I'm your host, Thomas Manglona, reporting on Saipan. And in our first story, we take you to the island of Tinian, where the Department of Defense provides the latest update on the Divert Airfield construction project. Here's more. It's been 2 years since the Department of Defense broke ground on the Divert Airfield project on Tinian. KUAM was there when one military official described it as the largest and most important Air Force project in the region. Lieutenant Victor Obando with the Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command is the resident officer in charge of construction overseeing projects outside of Guam.
As of right now, currently still going on setting operations for clearing, for getting the right elevation for the ground, as well as prepping essentially the earthwork movement piece of this project at the moment. The second phase would include the fuel tanks, the off-site roads, cargo pads to include the taxiways, as well as the maintenance support facility. That one was awarded at $221 million.
The project is still on track to be completed by contractor Black Micro Corporation in October 2025. Joint Region Marianas told KUAM that divert airfields are used in the event that an aircraft cannot land at the original airfield in its flight plan for any reason. The developments come with many jobs, but there have been local concerns about help needed to train the workforce to do those jobs.
Our team here on NAFAC side, NAFAC Marianas, have been looking into seeing opportunities to seek to set up trainings to give the opportunity for locals to get those up-to-date training, to be more aware of what the new requirements or new policies are.
The military says they continue to engage with residents as the project unfolds.
With the local community, we have a pretty good relationship where we go and talk and we give them information as needed, so that way they don't have any concerns, and we have that trust between each other.
And in our next story, we get the latest update from the Commonwealth Casino Commission on the future of the Imperial Pacific International Casino license. The Commonwealth Casino Commission convened Thursday morning for a regular meeting where they discussed the upcoming revocation hearing for Imperial Pacific International's casino license scheduled for April 2nd.
IPI did try to submit other settlement offers, but it is not to be entertained because since we only have limited time and it involves multiple parties, and at this point as we continue to develop our conversation, and I just don't think that it's going to have merits by the time your deliberation reaches. So as of now, the bus is going, and there's nothing stopping the train.
However, the revocation hearing could be postponed depending on the NMI District Court's decision on the casino's recently filed emergency temporary restraining order calling to stop it because of alleged due process rights violations. Meanwhile, the CCC clarified that the evidentiary hearings for revocation only included 2 out of 5 enforcement actions as part of their legal strategy.
One was the non-payment of the 2020 regulatory fee complaint. That's in the amount of $3.15 million. Also, the other one is that's seeking revocation is the one that the 3 months working capital in the amount of $4.2 million. In a restricted account, either cash or cash equivalent, reserving such amount for IPI to have their operation going and meet their payroll.
They said those are their 2 strongest arguments for revocation. KUAM spoke to Senator Karina Magofnia, who chairs the Gaming Committee and attended the meeting.
It really comes down to what the administration wants to do with the industry itself, and I'm hoping that they can find the middle ground.
Finding that middle ground is also a race against time. The Commission is requesting more government funding to continue its operations past April 13 or until IPI's case is closed. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have more on CNMI Weekly right after this. Welcome back to another episode of CNMI Weekly. In our next story, we have the latest on a Boost contractor who faces contempt charges from the CNMI House after he failed to directly answer questions about their investigation into the Boost program. Boost program contractor Shane Villanueva turned himself over to the Department of Corrections on an arrest warrant for contempt, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter. KUAM News was there Friday morning when Villanueva left the Department of Corrections with his lawyer by his side after he reportedly posted bail. Mr. Villanueva, any comment? Villanueva is one of three former Boost contractors a House committee subpoenaed to testify about former Governor Ralph Torres's $17 million federally funded program meant to support local businesses. However, some lawmakers allege it was used to benefit Torres's inner circle for political purposes. Villanueva first faced the legislature in February, where he scheduled his testimony and told KUAM this at the time.
Happy to be here and to answer the legislative questions and just be able to get it kind of gets over with actually. So yeah, we'll be back March 5th and we'll see you guys here.
Do you deny any wrongdoing or anything that the House has suggested that has come about from Boost?
We'll let the proceedings handle itself at this point, Thomas, and kind of go from there.
However, on the day of his testimony in early March, Villanueva invoked his Fifth Amendment right and did not directly answer any questions. He was found in contempt.
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege. Therefore, I respectfully decline to answer the question.
A few days after, the House Speaker certified the contempt charge and sent the information to the Attorney General for prosecution. It remains to be seen what will happen to the two other contractors and the former Secretary of Finance who were also found in contempt. And this month, the NMI marked its 48th Covenant Day. We went to a judiciary event where two original framers of the Covenant spoke about that history. Take a listen. Two of the original framers of the covenant that established the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands in political union with the U.S. shared their perspectives on the negotiations 48 years after 78.8% of voters in the NMI approved it. It was later signed by President Gerald Ford. Manuel Sablan was one of the negotiators under the Marianas Political Status Commission and shared his perspective at an event held by the NMI Judiciary on its anniversary.
The covenant provides us basically everything that we need to correct whatever problem we're having.
Questions about the future of the covenant and political status were also raised. Former Lieutenant Governor and negotiator Pedro Tenorio.
The question of integration with Guam continues to come up, maybe not as vocally now as before, but there are people, even among us, that would think, in the beginning, we were very sensitive to home rule. We don't want to integrate because Guam has more population than CNMI, and we might end up being dominated and overwhelmed by there. And we'll never get a chance to become governor from Saipan or Tinian or Rota because Guam has the population and they vote for that. But, things are changing. And I think we should be more open-minded about getting together with Guam, at least because of our common culture and tradition.
Meanwhile, Assistant Attorney General Relani Agumuro explained her vision for the covenant.
The covenant doesn't have an expiration date, so as we move forward, that we, always secure the promise of the covenant.
And in our last report, the NMI Green Growth Initiative brought together stakeholders for a CNMI Green Growth Working Summit to discuss the CNMI's sustainable future.
It is up to us to begin to forge a community that is sustainable and prosperous for everyone. How does that work? It begins here.
After launching the NMI Green Growth Initiative in January, dozens of island leaders convened for a 3-day working summit on Saipan to begin joining forces to address 17 sustainable development goals.
And then we have SDG 6, 7, 11, and 12, covering clean water, clean and affordable energy, sustainable communities, responsible consumption and production. What does that mean in the CNMI? Today, we still can't drink our water. We pay some of the highest utility rates in the nation, and we are still heavily dependent on fossil fuels to power everything that we do. What does our transition look like?
The summit is focused on regenerative sustainability, long-term viability while restoring ecosystems and communities.
We got to focus on awareness, ease, and accountability. That is how we can help everyone do better. Because what's at stake is life and death, the life of our planet and the life of each other.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of CNMI Weekly. We'll see you right here, same place, same time next week.